Welcome to an episode of the Tech Lounge podcast series, produced by AIQuinta. If you're joining us for the first time, this is our relaxed weekly after-work chat.
Yeah, the week is finally winding down.
Exactly. It's Thursday, 4:30 p.m., and this is just the time we carve out to sit back, grab a drink, and explore artificial intelligence, technology, and, the future of work. We're skipping the heavy academic lectures today.
Thank goodness for that.
Right. We just want to have a real, thoughtful conversation about the ideas that are actually shaping our workspace right now.
It's really about finding the signal in all the noise, taking a necessary step back from the daily grind to look at the bigger picture of where all this unprecedented technology is actually taking us, rather than just getting lost in the daily headlines.
And today's After Hours deep dive is focused on something massive. We are looking at the huge fundamental shift happening right now in 2026.
The big one.
It really is. And to unpack this, we're synthesizing some incredible insights today. We have AIQuinta's own brand philosophy alongside a really major trend analysis by Duc Nguyen.
Right, the report covering the top trends shaping the world of AI and tech.
Exactly. So the mission for today is figuring out how we transition from just playing around with AI to actually making it do the heavy lifting for us. Because if you look at the 2025 versus 2026 paradigm shift outlined in these sources, the contrast is, it's stark.
Oh, absolutely.
Last year, 2025, it felt like a playground. It was all about experimentation, proof of concept pilots, and just seeing what a frontier model could theoretically generate.
Which, to be fair, is a natural phase for any new technology. But businesses were treating generative AI as a standalone toy.
Right, like a neat parlor trick.
Exactly, an overlay for an individual task here and there. So someone in marketing might use it to draft an email, or an engineer might use it to check a little snippet of code. But the productivity gains were highly uneven. And frankly, a lot of organizations were just burning cash on compute power without seeing any structural benefit to their bottom line.
Yeah, and now the honeymoon phase is officially over. We are firmly in the execution phase. Global tech spending is projected to hit an astonishing $5.6 trillion this year. Trillion with a T. That is a massive systemic commitment. But I have to play the skeptic here for a second. Throwing $5.6 trillion at a technology doesn't magically guarantee it works.
No, it certainly doesn't.
You've seen tech bubbles before. What stops 2026 from just being an even more expensive version of 2025?
The difference is the demand for accountability. When you're spending that kind of money, the board of directors doesn't care about a cool pilot program anymore. They're demanding definitive ROI proof.
Show me the money.
Exactly. And this is where we're seeing the aggressive rise of strict financial operations discipline, or FinOps. It is no longer acceptable for IT to just spin up massive, expensive cloud environments without a direct line to revenue or savings.
So the blank check is gone.
Long gone. FinOps forces finance teams and engineering teams out of their silos to collaborate daily. They're optimizing hybrid compute environments and demanding immediate, measurable value for every single dollar spent.
Measurable value and efficiency, which actually leads perfectly into AIQuinta's foundational belief. I found this so compelling when I was reading through their strategy. Their core insight is that every business deserves its own AI.
Yes.
Not a generic one-size-fits-all template that you rent from some massive vendor, but an AI trained on your real actual processes.
That shift, moving from renting generic intelligence to owning specialized intelligence, that is the defining characteristic of a mature tech strategy in 2026. The goal is to enable companies to own, customize, and scale specialized AI agents.
Right.
And getting back to that demand for ROI proof, we aren't talking about theoretical future gains here. AIQuinta is talking about delivering a 3 to 4 times return on investment in a matter of weeks, alongside up to 60% efficiency gains just by eliminating rework and manual data entry.
I really want to dig into the actual technology making that 60% efficiency possible, because we're moving completely past the era of the basic chatbot.
Oh, absolutely. Chatbots are old news.
Right. And that brings us to trend 1 in our stack of sources, which is the Agentic Revolution. I hear the term Agentic AI thrown around constantly in boardrooms right now. But for someone who just uses a standard language model every day, what is the actual functional difference here?
Think of traditional generative AI as a highly intelligent encyclopedic reference book.
Okay.
It knows almost everything, but it just sits on a desk. You have to know exactly what question to ask and exactly how to format your prompt to get a useful result out of it. It's entirely passive. If you ask a vague question, you get A useless, hallucinated answer?
Right, it's a one-way street. You do the driving, and the AI just provides the map.
Agentic AI flips that entire dynamic. It's like hiring a dedicated team of specialized workers. You no longer have to guide the software step by step. You simply give the system a goal.
Like what?
Like you say, book my travel for the upcoming conference in London. An agentic system takes that single prompt, breaks it down into a dozen subtasks, logs in your HR software to check budget policies, scans your calendar for availability, interfaces with an airline's API to book the flight, and updates your itinerary.
Wow.
It executes the entire workflow on its own.
I hear that. And while it sounds incredibly convenient, handing over a company budget or critical enterprise workflows to an autonomous software agent sounds terrifying.
It does if it's just one unchecked system.
Right. So how are companies actually deploying this at scale without risking massive automated mistakes?
By moving away from a single monolithic AI and embracing multi-agent systems. A great way to visualize this from the research is to look at a flock of birds.
A flock of birds.
Right. A flock moves beautifully and fluidly, not because there's one giant omniscient bird directing traffic from the front.
That would be a funny image.
It would. Yeah. But it works because every individual bird follows a very simple set of rules and reacts only to the birds immediately around it. Multi-agent systems operate on that exact same principle.
So instead of one massive brain doing everything.
Exactly. Instead of one massive AI trying to do everything, you have dozens of small, highly specialized, domain-specific AI programs. They talk to each other, they route tasks, reason through bottlenecks, and coordinate to solve massive enterprise problems without hallucinating.
And this isn't some far-off sci-fi concept for the 2030s. By the end of this year, 40% of all software will have these goal-oriented agents built right in.
It's happening now.
Yeah. Let's make this concrete for you listening by walking through some specific use cases that AIQuinta is implementing. Imagine you're running a massive manufacturing enterprise. Instead of a generic chat interface, you deploy an audit and compliance agent. Its entire existence is dedicated to constantly validating actions against complex company standards. It monitors workflows, routes exception requests to the specific human approvers needed, and auto-generates shift reports without anyone having to compile spreadsheets.
Or consider the troubleshooting agent. In a traditional IT or factory floor setting, when a machine goes down, an alarm rings. And then a human has to spend hours digging through logs to figure out why.
Which is just a massive time sink.
Right. But a troubleshooting agent acts as an alarm navigator.
Yeah.
It doesn't just pass along the error code, it proactively suggests root causes with statistical probability scores. It analyzes historical defect patterns, links directly to the technical documentation for the fix, and presents all of this to the engineer the second they arrive.
That's incredible.
It handles the heavy cognitive lifting of root cause analysis.
And then you have the planning and forecast agent, which acts as a dynamic what-if simulator. It models volatile supply chain demand, optimizes where resources should be allocated, and estimates the financial impact of potential disruptions before they happen.
It's literally a digital workforce.
It is. But going back to my earlier concern about accountability, we aren't just letting the software run the company unsupervised, are we?
Absolutely not. And this is where strict governance comes in. The non-negotiable standard for enterprise AI is the human-in-the-loop checkpoint.
Human-in-the-loop.
Yes. The AI agents might do 95% of the grueling work. They gather the disparate data, reason through the strategic options, and prepare the final action. But a human being still has to review the logic and click approve before any major policy-bound action is executed.
So